show you how we get it in. I show you how we get it in. Little bit of headache, bow bow. Little bit of bow bow. I show you how we get it in. I show you how we get it in. Polo love, sub, bow bow, bow bow. She be making faces, saying she can't take it. We be kicking it, bow bow. We be kicking it, ayo. We be kicking it. I show you how we bow bow. I show her all my dividends. She show me how she work them yams. Make that clap, bring that back. Bag that up, get that back. You be smothering them, we be ducking. You be on that white, just want that night. She tell her wipe me down, cause I'm sweating while I'm piping. Tell her wipe me down, cause I'm sweating while I'm piping. Henny up, blowing loud, you know she wanna stick around. But oh no, no, pack and roll, you gotta go, we chasing those. On the road, grade A is all we know. Making plays, no audibles. This is me, no auto tunes. Keep coming, I'ma keep running. You can stop talking if it ain't about money. He said he owned it, I'm pouring on her. Check my homework, he ain't no I show you how we get it in. I show you how we get it in. Little bit of headache, bow bow. Little bit of bow bow. I show you how we get it in. I show you how we get it in. Polo love, sub, bow bow, bow bow. She be making faces, saying she can't take it. We be kicking it, bow bow. We be kicking it, ayo. We be kicking it. I show you how we bow bow. Over here, over there, different circle everywhere. A 10 ho, drilling is I don't care. That pussy cut, that's how my barber fade the hair. That calico, that's how will be my favorite. I'ma get it in, watch me gig. I don't give a fuck if you don't dance. I be bugging, you need mugging down. You just a pressing man. Look at her face, what did she say? Nothing, she can't even take it. Her pop move like Jamaican. You just a face that you be racing, never chasing. Abby, Ice tea, and you be all heated. Wanna stop your breathing? I say that just teasing. You low self-esteem and 1 through 10, don't count me in. I'm on the top, you wanna eat. I show you how we get it in. I show you how we get it in. Little bit of headache, bow bow. Little bit of bow bow. I show you how we get it in. I show you how we get it in. Polo love, sub, bow bow, bow bow. She be making faces, saying she can't take it. We be kicking it, bow bow. We be kicking it, ayo. We be kicking it. I show you how we bow bow. Bottle popping, ripping, tag shades on. I know you smell that fragrance, that's why she steady shaking it. Pop that and show that nookie. Let me get a smell that gushy, gushy, gushy. Bend it over, drop it on me. Now she got a motor on me. Lunch me, that feeling like baloney. I don't want no tenderoni. Elbow you macaroni. Looking at other components. Hopefully some cute will surface. We get it in. So 5 or 6, you wanna come? Let's have some fun. You use your tongue out for these ones. Don't kiss my lips. I just want a quick fix, man. Give her me. I know I'm so belligerent, especially when I get it in. I show you how we get it in. I show you how we get it in. Little bit of headache, bow bow. Little bit of bow bow. I show you how we get it in. I show you how we get it in. Polo love, sub, bow bow, bow bow. She be making faces, saying she can't take it. We be kicking it, bow bow. We be kicking it, ayo. We be kicking it. I show you how we bow bow.
It's now time for Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. It began as a podcast, went live on the net, and transformed into a full-blown empire. Across the web, on Fight Now TV, and on radio stations around the world. It's the only daily boxing talk radio show on the planet, hosted by the only guy with the balls to do it. Many have stepped into the ring. Many have tried to take the belt. And one by one, they've fallen. Another victim of the undisputed heavyweight champion of boxing talk radio. Talkin' Boxing with Billy C is on now.
My style is impetuous, my defense is impregnable, and I'm just ferocious. I want your heart.
And we're coming to you live from the Billy C studio in Lake George, New York. I'm Bill Calogero, and it's time for Talking Boxing with Billy C. Good morning, good day, good evening, whenever you're listening. Hope you're doing all right. Don't forget the show's being brought to you in part by Cat's Nationwide Luxury Transportation Service. If you need a limo, you're someplace in the U.S. of A., you need to give Cat's Nationwide Luxury Transportation Service a call. 202-351-7496. That's 202-351-7496. Give Cat a call. Just remember, she's my girl. I know you're going to be tempted, man, because she's irresistible. But she's mine. Mine, all mine. 202-351-7496. Don't forget, Cat's Nationwide Luxury Transportation Service is the official limo service of this year's Billy C. Boxing Hall of Fame induction weekend, November 16th, 17th, and 18th. So make sure you make your plans now. And if you need a limo sometime, not that weekend, but any other time, give Cat a call, 202-351-7496. The show's also being brought to you in part by Campanero and Tomkovich. If you need a lawyer, maybe you bought some property, or maybe you need one because you're getting kicked out of your house now. I don't know, man, but maybe you bought some property. Maybe you have some legal paperwork to be filed. Maybe you have some matrimonial issues, maybe a will, whatever, man, even criminal. Any kind of professional service you need when it requires an attorney, then you need to call the ones that keep me out of trouble. Campanero and Tomkovich, 845-221-4099. Tell them that Billy C is going to pick up the consultation fee. That'll save you some big bucks and also get them mad at me. So, and then they'll send me the bill like they tried to do already. But 845-221-4099. Tell them Billy C sent you. And, of course, my friends over at the Halftime Bar and Grill, Route 9, South Glens Falls. If you haven't checked this place out yet, especially if you're in the Glens Falls area, South Glens Falls, Lake George, Queensbury, Saratoga, all those areas are close to the Halftime. You need to go check it out. It's been renovated. They're going to be opening up the outdoor section of the facility, I guess, in 2 weeks. They were just waiting to make sure the nice weather's in. And speaking of nice weather, yesterday we lost power during the show, during the first 15 minutes. And I was like, what's going on? It's gorgeous out there. Well, apparently there was like these tornado-like winds, which caused a power outage. So I apologize for bashing the power company and the phone lines and everything else. But, hey, what are you going to do? That's what you got insurance for. But make sure you swing by the Halftime Bar and Grill on Friday nights when there's Friday night fights. This particular Friday night, I will not be there. I have another function I'm dealing with. But following week, next week, not this week, but next week, make your plans now, Halftime Bar and Grill. Do me a favor, email me if you're coming up from out of town. I want to make sure you have, some places to check out in terms of a room, because we want you to have some fun. We want to have a couple of pops, and I want to give you some prizes. So mark it down, and make a plan to come on up to the Halftime Bar and Grill next Friday to check out Friday Night Fights. You can give them a call ahead at 518-792-4869, or just swing by 792-4869 Halftime Bar and Grill. Got some stuff going on. First and foremost, I got Amy Green scheduled to come on and chat with us in a little bit. A little later in the show. She's going to be stopping by. I want to remind everybody, tomorrow, Alex Papali, we're going to be doing the Blast from the Past, Bobo Olsen. Our featured fighter this week, which I'm going to try to get to, is Terry Norris. And also our heavyweight spotlight is on Marvin Hart. And speaking about the heavyweight spotlight, I got some great news. Hopefully you've heard of this guy, because he's only been in the business for 50 years, knows everybody. Tony Trim. And Tony Trim is a boxing historian. He's a writer. As a matter of fact, the short version of my book appeared in in a book of essays that Colleen Aycock and Mark Scott put out earlier this year. You can get a copy of it by visiting our website's Billy C. Boxing Book Club. It's right there. You can just click it and get yourself a copy. The short version of my book is in there, and Tony actually has a story about George Godfrey, and I believe his is the second one in, right after mine. This guy has been around a long time, and I'm happy to announce that he's joining the Billy C. Boxing family. That's right. He's going to be presenting our heavyweight spotlights after I do the one on Marvin Hart. So look forward to him. A very knowledgeable guy. I'm proud to have him part of the group, and he's going to be making his own decisions on which heavyweight he wants to put the spotlight on. I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag, but he chose a good one for his first time. So I'm looking forward to him. As soon as we get the date where he will be on, I will let you know. But make sure you mark that one down. A historian. This is a guy that's got direct links to Hank Kaplan, one of the at least in my lifetime, one of the best boxing historians that I've ever gotten to meet. So I'm really excited about having Tony on board. So we'll be looking forward to that. Also, don't forget about the emails. Keep those mailbags coming. I got several to read in a minute. The goes, the don't goes, and the watches and the don't watches. If you're thinking about spending your hard-earned cash to buy a ticket to a boxing event, or if you're going to pay for a pay-per-view, drop us an email, Billy@TalkinBoxing, TalkinBoxing.com, and ask us what we think. Should you do it? Should you go? Should you watch? And we'll tell you the truth. Should you or should you not? Hey, let's force the promoters to put on good shows. It's that simple. Don't forget, you can listen to the Talking Boxing with Billy C. radio show on your mobile application. So make sure you do that. We have a poll question going on right now. Sugar Ray Leonard versus Floyd Mayweather Jr. Who would have won? If these two greats would have gotten into the ring together, who would have won? I mean, it's a question that, it's very hard to do these things. These obviously dream matchups that could never have possibly have taken place. But in lieu of some of the comments that we receive about Floyd being the greatest fighter ever and everything else, and generally it's made by younger fans, and I understand why, and there really isn't any comparison to Floyd today in terms of overall skill. And no, given quality isn't operating my microphone right now. It is me speaking. There isn't anybody that has the same skill set as Floyd. I think we all agree on that. I think the knock on Floyd is other issues, but as far as his skill set in terms of boxing, both offensively and defensively, and business sense, it would be hard to find another guy equal to Floyd today. And the way the business is going, I think it might be hard to find someone that's going to equal him tomorrow. However, when you look in the large scope of things, in terms of greatest fighters of all time, does he fall into that mix? There comes a point when you go beyond your own era, and if we would just judge him by his era today, he would be considered an all-time great. But when you mix him in with some of the real all-time great fighters, it makes me wonder how he would fare. We have a poll question that's covering that right now. Should the dream match be made and Floyd Mayweather Jr. got in the ring at his best, the best, maybe we never even have seen him at his best, but assuming he's at his best against Sugar Ray Robinson, who would have won? And right now we have an overwhelming, it's a blowout. 87.5% of you think that Sugar Ray Robinson would have dismantled Floyd Mayweather, to 12.5%. It does not surprise me. But I want to make sure that everybody knows that you can vote. You don't have to be, and there's... I got an email from Given Quality. He says, Billy, make sure you tell listeners who don't know you have to join Billy C. Boxing in order to cast a vote for Floyd Mayweather versus Robinson. So your collection of Floyd Mayweather Jr. haters are the only people casting votes. This is from Given Quality. I don't know what you mean by joining Billy C. Boxing. If you mean signing up for a podcast, absolutely not. You don't have to do anything. All you have to do is create a username and password in order to vote. That's all it takes to vote. There's no obligation. You're not going to be on a mailing list. I mean, we don't do that at Billy C. Boxing. I can't stand pop-ups. That website is strictly for news and stories and articles and that kind of thing. We will not bore you with pop-ups and everything else. So, I urge all of the Floyd Mayweather fans to vote because if you think your boy is so good, you better start voting, man. And unfortunately, for Given Quality, you're only allowed to vote once. That's why we require you to have a username and password, but there's no obligation. But what if I told you that Billy C. and Floyd Mayweather Jr. went head-to-head yesterday? Who do you think won? I'll give you the results in about 2.
If you're in upstate New York and you need a trucking company, then you need Roselli Enterprises. Roselli Enterprises is trucking at its finest. They have it all. Dump trucks, dump trailers, walk-in floors, flatbeds, flow boys, tankers, loaders, and a full line of roll-off containers for any job, big or small. Roselli Enterprises is also the source for all your sand, gravel, and topsoil needs. Visit them on the web at RoselliTrucking.com or call 315-433-5115. That's 315-433-5115 and tell them Billy C. sent you.
Are you ready, America? Then let's get it on with Fight Now TV. It's time, fight fans. Your channel has arrived. All the fights, all the names, all the action. From world-class boxing events to mixed martial arts showdowns and other combat sports matchups, Fight Now TV delivers the hits and more. Call your television provider and tell them you want to get it on with Fight Now TV. For more details, go to fightnow.com.
We've got a great matchup tonight. Fighting out of the left corner is the #1 ranked contender.
No, he is not.
I'm sorry, but who are you?
I am the ideal computer. I am programmed to provide only fair and unbiased boxing rankings. This fighter is the number 15 ranked contender.
Fair and unbiased boxing rankings? That's a new concept.
Actually, it is not. The IBO has provided unbiased computerized rankings for many years.
Well, we've still got a great fight tonight, folks. In the left corner is the number 15 ranked contender.
The IBO, the champion of integrity. Learn more at iboboxing.com.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts. Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you.
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning.
As a young boy, all Billy C. dreamed about was one day having his own catchphrase.
And we're back. And we're back.
One boy, one dream, one day, everyone will say.
And we're back. 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 And we're back.
Catchphrase coming soon to a theater near you.
And we're back. That's right. You're listening to the Talking Boxing with Billy C. radio show. You're catching a replay on LDL TV. I want to give my man John a shout out. I don't care what everybody says about John. I like him, man. You know, I'm still a little upset that I haven't heard from my girlfriend Michelle or Dawn. You know, come on, where are they? Anyway, hey, speaking of John. Yesterday I got this email, and, I'm going to be doing the emails right now, and one of them was from Given Quality. I just gave you one piece of it, and, he's got another comment that I'm going to give you here in a second, but he sends me an email yesterday, and, I know I disagree with Given Quality on a lot of stuff, but I think him and I are on the same page a lot, and this is what I like about this guy. He was, and I'm looking at it, whether this isn't true or not, man. I'm looking at it as a genuine thing. Like, he reached out. Like, I look at this as like what one of my buddies would have done. He sends me an email, and he says, "Hey, man, right now, Floyd Mayweather Jr. is working out. It's on the internet," and he gave me a link and everything else. And one thing I got to explain to Given Quality, I'm not like your average bear, I get up real early in the morning, probably when most of you are going to bed, and I prepare for the show and everything else because we air so early, although that might change. Oh, am I letting the cat out of the bag? No, maybe not. But anyway, so, what that means in English is that I go to bed early, so I'm in my feety pajamas usually by 7 or 8 o'clock at night. So I'm done with checking emails by 5 p.m. So I missed it, man. I missed it. I didn't get a chance to, and I really appreciate Given Quality reaching out to me and giving me the heads up on that, because as much as I'm critical of Floyd Mayweather, the man, I'm never going to deny his skill, and I love watching him work out, to tell you the truth. I don't watch 24/7 because I can't stand the propaganda that goes on with him. But I love watching him work out. To me, it's an event. It's a show. It's something that really it's a skill that he does, and it's a performance. And it's, if you've never seen him work out, you should really check it out. With that said, he goes on last night, and impromptu they throw him working out on. Well, UStream, as you know, is the premier streaming vehicle. Everybody uses UStream. They're very popular with everyone from small shows up to big shows, to broadcast, to replays, to pay-per-views, to everything. So they're obviously in the front runner, and we have a good relationship. LDL TV is in tight with UStream, and we love the relationship we have with them. Well, how about this? I get a letter from my man John, an email from my man John, right after I get the email from Given Quality, and I didn't get these until this morning. So, he says, "Be happy to know that Floyd Mayweather was sparring last night and went on UStream, but UStream kept us on the front page." That's right. And he says, "Billy C. KOs Floyd Mayweather with 2,000 live viewers." So congratulations to LDL TV for somehow pulling that off. Whether UStream just realizes that we put on our show every day, but man, I would have never expected, because anytime you see Floyd Mayweather pop onto UStream, I mean, everybody goes there. You never know what he's going to say or do. So I'm pretty psyched that happened. And if you're looking for more information about those numbers or whatever, get a hold of John himself. Go visit ldltv.com. ldltv.com. Fast rising production company. Glad to be part of those guys, and that's for sure. We're going to be doing some great projects together. As long as we don't keep finding these guys that crumble. They crumble before we go on air. But anyway, the last two shows, two promoters, both of them up, ready to go, ba-bam, down before the event starts. Speaking of events, let's get some of these other emails away. And like I said, I got one from Given Quality. Hope he's loving that. Billy C. KOs Floyd Mayweather, 2,000 views. 2,000 viewers. I know that's nothing. Floyd Mayweather's got what, millions of views. I'm just a newbie when it comes to the YouTube stuff. So we're just beginning. We're just in our infancy stage. But anyway, 2,000 views to I don't know how many Floyd got, but Floyd, we knocked you out, man. You got a big L on your record. Knockout loss. Billy C., the old fat Italian, 50 years old, knocks out Floyd. But anyway, Given Quality says Pacquiao has actually looked more suspect as a fighter under Freddie Roach as when he was under Justin Fortune 5 or 6 years ago. He was beating fighters at their peak during their prime. He fought better caliber guys at this time that were not, for the most of them, coming off losses. That most of them were not coming off losses. Pac has now fought one champion at 147. Draining fighters is not an accomplishment when you get a victory, and you're healthy versus an opponent that's drained. Winning vacant made-up belts is not the same as defeating a real champ at 147 pounds. This matters. Listen, man, I'm so sick of hearing about the drained stuff, Given Quality. I mean, here's the deal. It's like this. You sign a contract. we have two guys in the sport of boxing right now, in Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao, that seem to be the drivers. Everybody wants to fight them because of the payday. What that means is we have all these other promoters that aren't willing to step up and write a check. So we all have to wait around for the Floyd or Manny sweepstakes. Who gets to fight them, right? So when they go to pick their fights, and Floyd does the same thing. Come on, you can't put all of that on Manny. Floyd does the same thing. They pick the fight. They pick a fighter. They offer him a deal. Whatever the deal is, a money deal, a weight deal, rounds, what's going to be on the line, all of that's part of the deal. The fighter has a choice. Do they say yes or do they say no? And I can't stand hearing about weight-trained fighters, and I know everybody refers to the De La Hoya fight against Manny Pacquiao. Listen, go back and read all the articles that people were writing. Everyone, except me, because really I was one of the only people that picked Pacquiao in that fight. Before the weigh-in, everybody was scared for poor Manny Pacquiao. Poor Manny Pacquiao. He's going to get killed. Oscar's going to kill him. He's too big. He's this, he's that. Then we see the weigh-in. We see Oscar looks, like a skeleton, and everybody's like, oh, he's drained. Oh, it's not the same fight. Oh, making all excuses. So, I mean, you can't do it, man. You can't do it. Listen, we can only judge them by the performances that they have. And I totally disagree with giving quality about Manny Pacquiao being a better fighter before Freddie Roach. As much as I think Freddie Roach, has made some mistakes of late, and I think that his lack of adjustments against Lamont Peterson cost him and Amir Khan that fight. And I don't know, what kind of adjustments he could have made to make Manny Pacquiao, regain his killer instinct. I don't know if that burden falls on Freddie or not. But the thing is this. The one thing that I give credit to Manny Pacquiao for, and it's happened since he's been under the tutelage of Freddie Roach, is the simple fact that when Freddie Roach tells him something, he listens. And I'll give you one good example. He was fighting, I believe it was Miguel Cotto in their fight, or it could have been the fight prior to that, but I'm almost sure it was Miguel Cotto, or it might have been Ricky Hatton. You know what? Now that I'm thinking of it, it might have been Ricky Hatton. But one of the fights, Freddie Roach, he comes back to the corner, and Freddie Roach says one line. He says, Manny, when you feel the ropes against your back, circle around. I don't want you against the ropes. That set of instructions that he gave him during that fight, which I can't recall right now, he still does to this day. It's little things like that, those little adjustments that Manny Pacquiao was willing to listen to Freddie Roach on, that made him a better fighter. Is he still a same kind of a brawler, come at you first, winging away with punches? Yes. And that's what makes him exciting. Is he better, scientifically, as a boxing? Is he better at the sweet science than Floyd? Absolutely not. I've never said that. But he's a hell of a lot more exciting than Floyd. I will tell you that. At least that's my opinion of that situation. But anyway, so I disagree with you there. I think that he's actually gotten better. And as far as picking opponents, come on, they all do that. Like I said, it's a pissing contest. I mean, all the Mayweather fans talk negatively of Pacquiao, and all the Pacquiao fans talk negatively of Mayweather. There's nothing in between, and I honestly believe, and I said it yesterday, I honestly believe that the interest in this fight is diminishing. As much as we all want to see it, it's diminishing. I got several emails from my man Errol Jarrett. First one he wants to mention is the Eric Morales and Danny Garcia fight. He says, you can clearly see in this fight El Terrible is fighting for the money. He's a 4-weight division champion and has nothing else to gain at this point in his boxing career. Ducking the number 1 WBC contender, Jose Alsagun, for close to 2 years now. I'm happy Danny won the title. Hopefully he'll give Alsagun a shot. I don't know. I think that I'm not going to dispute that Eric Morales is obviously looking for big money fights at this point. I do think that winning that fourth title was important to him, and I do think that deep down he thought that he still had it. I think that he and his father thought that layoff, the long layoff, was helpful to them. And I thought that, he had a couple of performances that indicated that maybe he can still perform in his last fight, not the one this past week. He was being dominated throughout the whole fight, and then his young opponent ran out of gas, and he knocked him out. I think he felt pretty invincible going into the Garcia fight. And once again, we saw youth prevail. And where does he go from here? Like I said yesterday, I have a feeling that he and Juan Manuel Marquez are going to meet for both of their last fights. I think they're going to, both say goodbye to the sport and fight each other. It'll be a big money fight, and it'll probably take place at the end of the year. That's my prediction. Anyway, but listen, I got to take a break. When I come back, I got some more emails to read. All of that coming up in 2. Just remember, Billy C. KOs Floyd Mayweather Jr. 2,000 views last night. UStream kept us on the front page and not of the sports section and not Floyd. Pretty amazing. We're happy about that. Thanks to LDL TV.
Are you ready, America? Then let's get it on with Fight Now TV. It's time, fight fans. Your channel has arrived. All the fights, all the names, all the action. From world-class boxing events to mixed martial arts showdowns and other combat sports matchups, Fight Now TV delivers the hits and more. Call your television provider and tell them you want to get it on with Fight Now TV. For more details, go to fightnow.com.
Broadcasting in all corners of the globe, on the web and radio.
He would scoff at a stretcher, that man, I would think.
And we're back. Yeah, we just ended our commercial there, our whatever we call that. But we're back. You're listening to the Talking Boxing with Billy C radio show. You're watching us on the Fight Now television network. And if you don't have Fight Now, what the hell are you waiting for? Call your local television provider and tell them that you want the Fight Now channel added to your sports channel lineup. It's that simple. Pick up the phone and tell them. All the information about Fight Now can be found at their website, www.fightnow.com. And I want to welcome all the Fight Now viewers that are joining us right now, like they do every single day, Monday through Friday, from 6 to 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Maybe that's going to change someday. I don't know, man. We'll have to wait and see. But I was just get you guys caught up. I was talking about what's going on with the show, and we also had kind of a, I'm jumping on it, man, because come on, how often can you say you beat Floyd Mayweather? Well, last night, apparently, our show, we have a replay that was being broadcast on LDL TV through UStream. And Floyd Mayweather, now granted, Floyd Mayweather did not advertise that he was going to have an open workout, and they picked up a stream. They started streaming his workout, and they put it up on UStream last night. And it happened to have been during the replay of our show, and UStream decided to keep us there. we got the front page of the sports section over Floyd Mayweather, and LDL TV said Billy C by knockout over Floyd Mayweather. Over 2,000 viewers stayed with us rather than go to Floyd stream. Hey, for all I know, he had 100 million viewers. Just wasn't being displayed on the front page of the sports section of UStream. So we're happy about that. We want to thank our friends over at UStream for thinking of us, man, keeping us there. I think one of the reasons they do that is because we produce a product every single day. So all of that stuff is relative, in my opinion. But anyway, we're reading some emails here, and we got Errol Jarrett. Was just giving me his thoughts on, and I responded to his thoughts on the Morales-Danny Garcia fight. He also says Vernon Paris versus Zab Judah fight was a big shock to me, as I had Paris breaking out of the pack to be a top contender in this division. He says, but as I talked to him and on Facebook before the fight, his mind was on the New York versus Detroit thing, talking smack and just trying to get into Zab's head. He looked slow in the fight. It was upsetting to see. Zab, on the other hand, did all the right things, and more power to him. I'm with you with that one, Errol. I thought I picked Vernon Paris. I thought that Vernon Paris would win the fight. I was obviously wrong. I too felt the same way you did, and I thought that Zab Judah was kind of on his way out. But just like you, I got to give Zab Judah some credit because he looked good from the beginning to the end. My comment on Vernon Paris spending too much time getting into the head of Zab Judah, that's one thing you got to understand about veteran fighters. Getting into their head sometimes isn't a smart move. That usually works with the younger fighters. So I agree with you there. I think Vernon Paris probably got into his own head for not getting into Zab Judah's head. So I think that should be a lesson to all fighters that you should focus on the fight, forget about the head games because they don't work. He also goes on to say, Billy C., you're out of line calling Zab Judah a thug. If you catch the 360 film, you could see how he's changed his life around, and he's a good Christian nowadays. Give him a break already. I posted a video on your Facebook page showing Vernon trying to upset Zab, and all Zab said to him is, you should do that, and you should act like a pro. To me, anyway, he seems to have turned his life around. Don't always judge a book by the cover. I called him a thug because I can't help but get that, and you can punch it up on YouTube. Zab Judah walks up and he starts shooting a game of craps on the street with to me it looked like a crack whore. I mean, I don't know. He steals some money or takes some money out of the pot or something happens, and this woman flips out on Zab Judah, chases him down the street with his cameraman and everything else. And it's just pretty funny. And all of the other incidences that Zab Judah has had in his past, I hope he's turned his life around. I didn't mean it like, a thug, same kind of thug. I meant it as a thug. I meant him, I guess I did mean it. But I appreciate what you're saying about Zab Judah, and I hope he did turn his life around. All we got to do is see a little diversity, a little something happen that's not out of the ordinary, and we'll see if he reverts back to himself. I mean, he has flown off the handle. Come on, he has. But anyway, he definitely looked good the other night. I'm not gonna criticize him for that. He says, and Errol, this is more from Errol Jarrett. He says, on James Kirkland versus Carlos Molina fight, you're out of order, my man. Oh, there's two things he disagrees. Ann Wolf told James to go to the body, and James, for some foolish reason, didn't listen to her until Ann started shouting at him. Carlos Molina was the one making it an ugly fight, smash and grab tactic used, his headbutts, so on and so forth. Molina was scared for his life, using the same tactics Tony Tucker used against Mike Tyson. Kirkland's body, like Mike Tyson, which he's using to bully other fighters. I guess this is in response to me saying that James Kirkland, in my opinion, has been exposed as a one-dimensional fighter. I was not taken away from Ann Wolf at all. I happen to love Ann Wolf. I think she's a very good trainer. I'm glad you brought up Mike Tyson, because Mike Tyson and his trainer Kevin Rooney is a great an example and a comparison. Sometimes trainers hook up with a fighter that brings out the best in both of them, and they never get that opportunity again with another fighter, whether it be styles, maybe the trainer, his technique or her technique works good for one fighter or not. That situation kind of happened with my friend, and he's a friend, Kevin Rooney, with Mike Tyson. Kevin Rooney, his background, obviously custom auto stable, and learned the bob and weave and all of that. The knock I've always had on Kevin is that he tries to teach that style to all fighters he works with, regardless of their natural attributes. And in the long run, it hasn't really been a success story as much as it was for Mike Tyson with some of the other fighters. Yes, he worked with Vinny Pazienza. He worked with a middleweight that I got to put on several shows in Leonard Pierre several years back. So, I mean, he's had some success, but he's also had some guys that just didn't pan out with that style. Ann Wolf seems to be heading down a similar path with James Kirkland. James Kirkland and Ann Wolfe work very, very well together. I know Ann works with her daughter, who's also a pretty talented fighter. But aside from that, I haven't personally seen Ann Wolfe fight, working with other fighters. I know she's got the capability, and I know a lot of fighters would love to work with Ann. My knock on both Ann and Kirkland for that fight was that he seems to be he's not getting better. He's a one-dimensional guy. He doesn't have a solid defense. He comes at you. We know that he gets hurt. It's been happening too often lately. The muscle tone, to me, and I agreed with the announcers from that fight, seemed to be weight related, weights related, just the way it is. Mike Tyson didn't work out with weights as much as you might think. Mike Tyson did a lot of calisthenic workouts and stuff as he got older, and after he went to jail, his whole body changed, and I'm sure he started working with some weights, and working with lighter weights for tone is one thing that works. But to me, I agreed with the announcers on Saturday night that James Kirkland's muscles look like they're from lifting heavier weights to build that muscle tone, which slows you down in the ring. And I noticed it. I didn't think that he had any kind of speed. He didn't have the go at you. He wasn't taking the fight to Molina. I'm not saying it wasn't an ugly fight, and I'm not saying it wasn't Molina's fault. But I just, listen, Kirkland is ranked. He's a top-ranked fighter. He's a guy that's on the cusp for a major title. And I'm just not seeing an improvement. And, as far as being instructed in the corner, you could tell a fighter to hit the body all the time. If a fighter's not going to listen, then, I'm not blaming the trainer. She was given some instruction, but there was a lot of go kick his ass instructions. Go get him. What are you doing? What are you doing? That kind of stuff. So whether there was more going on or not, I don't know. But if I'm way out of order by telling you what my opinion is, sorry, but that's what it is. And as far as James going to the body, you know what? He left his face open all night. So he says, he goes on to say, and Floyd versus Sugar Ray is a close fight. I think in a 15-round fight, Ray would get Floyd out of there between rounds 13 and 15. Too much power Sugar Ray had. 12 rounds, Floyd gets the win by points. I feel it would have been a very close fight, but Floyd would have got him. Well, go cast your vote, Errol. Go cast your vote. We didn't speculate. We didn't specify, I should say. Man, well, that was the wrong word. We didn't specify how many rounds it would be. It's a dream matchup. And I voted for Sugar Ray. J.G. Martinez Jr. says there is footage of Sugar Ray Robinson at welterweight here on YouTube. Dude, this guy was a beast at welterweight. There's not much of it, but it's great to view. He was a nasty 147-pound fighter. Thank you, J.G. Martinez Jr. He was, listen, I know so many people love Floyd, but Sugar Ray Robinson was the greatest fighter of all time. It's unfortunate that there is a lack of footage of him at welterweight, but consider this. This was a guy that won 60-something fights, before losing to a guy that was way bigger than him and everything else. So, he just dominated the welterweight division. And this was a kid that had a decent amateur. I'll never forget reading, I'll give you a quick story. I'll never forget reading an article about Sugar Ray Robinson. Before he turned pro, he used to, I owned a gym in Poughkeepsie, New York. And before Sugar Ray Robinson turned pro, they used to fight a lot. Poughkeepsie, New York was actually a pretty big fight town in the 30s and early 40s. And when Sugar Ray Robinson was an amateur, they used to drive from New York City, from Harlem, where he's from, and he used to ride he was a young kid in the back seat of a car with a rumble seat. He used to sit in a rumble seat. I don't know if you guys know what a rumble seat is, but it used to be like a trunk that opened up into a seat, and people would sit in back there. And he used to ride up from Harlem to Poughkeepsie. Now today, it would take you maybe an hour's drive, with traffic and everything else. You can get from Harlem to Poughkeepsie in an hour or maybe less. But back then, I'm sure it was at least an hour and a half, maybe even a 2-hour ride with the roads and also the cars. And this kid would drive up in the backseat of a rumble, in the rumble seat of an old car, and get to these smokers that they used to have in Poughkeepsie, and used to fight. And because it was amateur, they didn't pay him, so they used to give him a watch. Whoever won the fight, he used to get a watch. And then on their way out, they used to trade the same watch in and get $10, and that's how he used to make money, and used to do that a lot in Poughkeepsie, New York. And this was a kid that was on his way up and just was virtually unbeatable. It's a shame that we don't have footage of him. But anyway, I figured I'd share that with you. And finally, I got one more email. This is from the other Alex. He likes to be known as the other Alex. Alex T. Says, Bill, I was glad to hear you're a rule as a rule guy on your Kirkland fight. I agree with you. Texas is a joke when it comes to the commission, and every time I see Lawrence Cole on my TV, I want to throw up. Hell, I think I saw a 15-foot ring on ESPN Friday Night Fights in Texas, which Teddy Atlas said was illegal. But hey, it's Texas, so who cares? But the rules were followed in the Kirkland fight regarding the disqualification. As much as everyone was crying about it on TV Saturday night, it was almost as if the HBO crew didn't know the rule. No one wanted the fight to end that way. I think the blame should be on Molina's corner for not knowing what the hell they were doing. The good example of Mayweather avoiding the best fighter is Costa Tszyu. That's right, I forgot about Costa Tszyu. Also, Mosley was in his prime as a lightweight and welterweight champion, not 10 years later when Mayweather beat him. Why didn't the fight happen way back when? All right, the two issues. First and foremost, with the Mayweather thing, the Mosley fight, 10 years earlier, you put Mayweather at a point where he wasn't as established, so maybe that's being a little hard on him, but he certainly could have fought Mosley. He could have fought Mosley sooner than he did. Mosley's clearly a fighter that's done, and I really I question him fighting Alvarez, to be honest with you. But the Costa Tszyu fight, that was realistically Mayweather may have even had an edge against Costa Tszyu at the time, but chose not to. And the one fight that really sticks in my mind is the Margarito fight. He chose Valdemir instead at a time when Margarito was being regarded as the killer. Yeah, Dave Murphy just popped in by himself in there. But anyway, what's up, Dave? I'm going to say hello to my man Dave. But anyway, as far as the Texas, I hate that rule. I mean, I hated to have to go to that statement and say a rule's a rule. But it's true, man. I mean, in boxing, you got to follow the rules. And the rule stipulates that, when a fighter gets knocked down, the round continues until the referee is done with the 8 count and is make sure that the fighter's okay. An interesting thing, the Molina camp is issuing a protest, and they have attorneys and everything else, and they're actually using one of the Texas Commission's rules against this as their reason to have this overturned. And Texas Commission Rule 61.41 K6 reads, when a round ends before a contestant who is knocked down rises, the bell shall not ring, and the count shall continue. If the contestant rises before the count of 10, the bell shall ring, ending the round. Now, this is an important statement because we all heard the bell ring, all right? He got hit, and the bell rang, and the referee started to count. Now, that's a crazy rule. Now, I'm wondering how the legal system is going to look at that rule because what you're saying in that rule in print makes sense, but what they're also assuming is that the timekeeper is all on the same page, and all of this is happening within a split second. And I think what happened was the timekeeper is not watching the action. They're watching the clock. They're watching the clock, and they got the hammer ready to hit the bell. So they're watching the clock. They got the 10-second warning, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, ding. The round is over. And at the time the bell was rung, the fighter hit the canvas. That's what I recall. That's what I saw on the broadcast. Now, how is the legal system going to view that? Are they going to take that rule literally and say, well, the bell rang, ended the round, and it justifies Molina's camp for getting into the ring? Or do you say, well, wait a minute, there was a knockdown. In a knockdown, first step is the referee has to rule it a knockdown. So if the referee rules that was a knockdown, the count begins then. So at a simultaneous situation, which I believe happened here, the bell is rung, the knockdown takes place, a fighter cannot be saved by the bell, the referee calls it a knockdown and begins the count. At that point, Molina's camp entered the ring. We saw it on film. He's in the middle of his count. As a matter of fact, he's all the way up to, I think, 3 or 4 at least. And Molina's team gets up with their back to him and starts putting a stool in and everything else. They went against the rules. Is it unfortunate? Yes. Was Molina way ahead on the cards? Would he have won the fight? Yes. But unfortunately, disqualification. James Kirkland gets the fight. I agree with whoever sent me the email yesterday saying that they give a lot of credit to Ann Wolfe and James Kirkland for admitting to Molina that he won the fight. As much as sometimes the rules are awful in the sport, I think that you have to follow them. You have to, whether you agree with the rule or not. So I appreciate that. I do agree that Texas has become pretty much the laughing stock of all commissions, and Lawrence Cole is one of the worst. But when your dad is the commissioner and both of you guys sell the insurance that everyone needs for boxing, I mean, you're gonna get some passes. There's no question about it. As far as that ring incident, I will comment on this. They're talking about inside the ring. I didn't know they made a ring that wasn't at least 15 by 15 on the inside. Teddy Roach claims, Teddy Atlas claims that it was 14 and a half or something like that. I don't know, man. I don't know. Go check your tape measure. Make sure you weren't getting any olden day cut out a piece of the tape measure trick. I've seen it used 1,000 times by Get Smart. But anyway, that takes care of that. We had a fight last night that I wanted to talk about, and that was the IBO strawweight champ Hiki Budlar. He made a guy that they threw in there that shouldn't have been even in the fight, let alone go the distance. It was a non-title fight. It was in Kempton Park at the Emperor's Palace, where a lot of the South African fight cards are held. It was a Monday night fight, which I love. It was kind of a wild fight is what it's described. I didn't see it. Wild fight is how it's described from both fighters, the champion, Hiki Budlar, and the challenger, Shamal Courtman, who had like 8 fights under his belt. And Budlar, whether you know this or not, he has 20. He had 20 going into the fight. So it was definitely a mismatched fight. But Courtman went the distance, man. He went the distance all the way to the scorecard, 79-74, 78-74, with the way 2 of the judges scored it. But the third had it pretty. I don't know if he couldn't add or if he scored a lot of the rounds even, but 79-78. They were all in favor of Budlar, but 79-78. How do you score that? How do you come up with 79-78 in an 8-round fight? And a lot of those rounds had to be even. But anyway, that's that. There was some other fights on that card, and one of note. Talk about going down quick. How about Isaac Lashueo? This was a guy that, if you recall, Delvin Rodriguez fought him twice and just couldn't figure him out. I mean, this was a former world champion in a welterweight division. They were trying to get him a comeback fight. I mean, he hasn't been in the ring for 20 months, over a year and a half, and they throw him in with a guy that listen, he had a 12-2 record going into the fight, but by no way, shape, or form should have a 30-win former world champion with 30 wins, 3 losses, and a draw and a no contest, 1 draw and one no contest, should have easily taken care of Bongo Limpapoo, and Limpapoo ended up winning the fight. Knocked him out, knocked Lashueo out 53 seconds into the second round. And that's the end of Lashueo. You know what? They're saying that he was a shell of himself, and, man, a year and a half, unfortunate turn of events for Lashueo. He was an exciting fighter, so we'll see what happens there. Remember last week when we had the Dave Murphy's, he's got his pen and calculator out. He's trying to figure out what the hell this referee was, this judge was thinking. He's going 7 rounds even. He said, no, wait a minute, that's not even working out. He's trying to figure out how that score came. And maybe they just can't add over there. Maybe they had the abacus out there and one of the balls weren't working. I don't know. But Manny Pacquiao, remember last week, or actually it was 2 weeks ago, the Philippine, I guess their version of the IRS. I don't know, man. Maybe it is the IRS. But they were basically they were asking him about his tax returns, that they were filed, his income was filed incorrectly, and that he was looking to do some time, man. They were trying to prosecute him, seeing if there was enough evidence to prosecute him, and he was going to face up to 2 years in jail if he was found convicted. And, I joked around about it and said that he and Floyd Mayweather was going to be sharing the same jail cell because, as we all know, Floyd's going to be checking in to the Clark County Hotel June 1st, so which I'm still going to wait to see. And like I was telling Fight Now yesterday, I said, we should be there, damn it. I should be there trying to get an interview with him as they're dragging him in to jail. But anyway, Manny Pacquiao says, no, man. Listen, this is plain and simple. It's harassment. He's blaming the Filipino Tax Bureau, which is, I guess, their IRS, as harassing him. He says he's never shortchanged the government, and he's open to them looking at his stuff. He says, I'm not going to fall for this. And somebody asked him, somebody from the media said, how do you feel about following Floyd Mayweather into a jail cell? You and Floyd are in the same jail cell, which I found kind of funny because I know that we had said that here. I'm not saying they copied off us, but I think it's a common little joke, And Manny Pacquiao said, I would rather see him inside the ring, not in a jail. So we'll see what happens with that. I really think that the novelty is running off with that fight. I think we're just running out. With that one. But anyway, let's see. We got some comments from Dave. He says you could bet that judge or whatever. Her name, that Judge Monica, or whatever her name was going to be getting a copy of the news story about Floyd's picking up the tab for the little girl's operation. I don't know what operation you're talking about, but it sounds like a feel-good story. And see, that's the kind of stuff that nobody ever tells you about Floyd. I only hear and talk about all the negative stuff about Floyd. He did this. He beat up his wife. He smacked around a teenage guard, or no, not teenage, a pimply-faced college student guard because he parked his car illegally and all that. But you don't hear about, and I don't want to hear about the donation he made to whatever organization he did, because he was ordered to do that. So you hear about that one in the press. Floyd did a feel-good story. He donated all this money to this cause. Yeah, but that's because he was ordered to. But this kind of thing, that there was Dave Murphy's telling me right now, and I didn't hear it, and unfortunately I don't know what he's talking about, and I would like to, because I feel that Floyd should get the coverage for that as well, instead of just the negative stuff. But anyway, speaking of negative stuff, some guy wrote that. I know that he did that. Yeah, he picked up the tab for Gennaro Hernandez's funeral, and I know that he did that, and that was a feel good story that we did talk about here on the show. And Floyd, many people. Now, I've never met Floyd on a personal basis, and I guess it's unfair for me to be as adamant about how I feel about him, but I can't help it. Everything I see with him is he's just not. Maybe if I met him in person and I got to talk to him behind closed doors, maybe my opinion would change. But as a person, I'm not too fond of him. As a boxer, I draw the line. I have to follow my man George's rule. He says, I don't care what he does in his personal life. I just look at him as a boxer, and that's all I got to try to do. Although I find some of his personal life very entertaining. Speaking of negative stuff, Mikkel Kessler, I don't think that this guy is as good. I don't think he's as good as many of the so-called boxing experts believe. I just don't. I just don't think he's that good, and I'm going to hold that thought. I'll tell you what I think about that as soon as we come back from the break. If the sound system is working, that we don't know.
Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. now has official merchandise available on TalkinBoxing.com. T-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, and mugs. And yes, even undergarments. Talkin' Boxing apparel is the perfect gift for the boxing fan in your life. Log on to www.talkinboxing.com. That's TalkinBoxing.com and place your order today.
Join us here for 2 hours as Billy and the gang do what they do best.
Every time I start talking about boxing, a white man got to pull Rocky Marciano out their ass. Rocky Marciano was good, but compared to Joe Louis, Rocky Marciano ain't.
Hit Joe Louis's ass.
Joe Louis was 75 years old when he fought.
Huh?
What? We're supposed to be talking boxing.
It's Talking Boxing with Billy C.
As Billy C. sits here in the multi-million-dollar Talkin' Boxing Studios, sipping a fine wine before you're even out of bed, you should be thinking, damn, I wish I had a mustache like his. It's the Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. show. He's Billy C., and you're not. Sucks to be you.
Now let's dig into our archives and hear a rare interview when Billy C. first became the champion of boxing talk radio. Hello, Billy C. As the new champ, can we ask you a few questions?
Why, certainly.
Okay, your fans would like to know how you and your corner have successfully walloped the competition.
We're not ordinary people. We're morons.
Anything else?
I'm a victim of circumstance.
Did your success finally come when you made the show 5 days a week for 2 hours? What do you think?
I'm trying to think, but nothing happens.
Now, please tell the listeners what you've learned from making it this far.
Certainly. If at first you don't succeed, keep on sucking till you do succeed.
Great words of wisdom, Billy C. Keep up the great work as the undisputed People's Champion with your show, Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. Any last words to anyone who's listening?
This is your fault, you bonehead.
And we're back. You are listening to the Talking Boxing with Billy C. radio show. And you're watching us on the Fight Now television channel. And if you don't have the Fight Now channel on your sports channel lineup, now's the time to call your local television provider. You got to pick up the phone, man. You know, we had a meeting yesterday, and the bottom line is everybody's waiting to include the Fight Now channel on their, for their TV distribution. You know, the different networks, the different cable companies, the different television providers. They're all waiting. But you know what? You know what drives them to make the decision? You. So you got to pick up the phone, man. If you want to check it out on television, you got to call your local television provider, whether it be cable or satellite, and tell them you want Fight Now right now. Trust me. I know you guys have been doing it earlier, but now's the time to do it. And do me a favor. If you do that, we really are looking for some information on which companies you are calling. Like, in other words, just take a minute and drop me an email, Billy@talkinboxing, TALKINBOXING, and say, hey, this is Joe from Chicago, and I called my cable company XYZ and requested Fight Now. And if you could just do that for me, then I can give the suits, the bigwigs over there at Fight Now, I can give them a report showing different markets that we've called and asked for it. So it'll help us help them make a decision to add the channel. So if you want to watch it, you got to call about it, man. It's that simple. Call your local television provider and tell them you want Fight Now right now. For all the information about the channel, you can find it www.fightnow.com. And speaking of Fight Now, every night it's Fight Night on Fight Now, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Check out the website for the latest listings. Dave Murphy just gave me a quick rundown. Apparently, we got Floyd Mayweather's PR guy. One of his PR guys asked Floyd to come to a charity with him. And on the way there, they said, hey, what's the charity for? And it was apparently for a fundraiser to try and raise some money for a young girl who needed an operation. And the whole cost was around $50,000. And Floyd was touched by the move and said, I'll tell you what, pay the operation on me. So there's an attaboy for you for Floyd, and we'll see what happens with that. As far as I just was also talking with the chat room guys. Yeah, Tony Trim is a guy that's been involved in the business. He's a historian. He's been around a long time. He's actually got a lot of contacts with past fighters. He doesn't really work with management now or current fighters, but he is going to be part of our show. He's going to be doing the heavyweight spotlight, and we're going to showcase him within a couple of weeks. So he's a great guy. So even Coach K is giving hats off to Floyd on that one. But I tell you, before we went to break, I was talking about Mikkel Kessler, and I don't know about you guys, but there's two fighters, in my opinion. One is current and one is past that I think are grossly overrated. And, I mean, there's a lot of fighters I think are overrated. But Joe Calzaghe was a guy that I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. And I don't want all my UK fans to hate me or whatever. But he didn't show me anything except that he stayed in his own little world and fought his own little fighters and amassed a nice, very impressive, undefeated record and walked away at the top of his game. That I give him credit for, because in this business, it's very hard to do. But as critical as I am of Floyd Mayweather, and as critical as I am of him, what I think kind of doing the same thing, he fought way better opposition as a whole than Joe Calzaghe did. So I mean, come on. Joe Calzaghe was, in my opinion, overrated. I give him credit. I'm sure he'll get in the Hall of Fame, first-time ballot. I just, for his accomplishments, anybody fighting, 40 fights or more and winning, even 35 fights or more and winning them all, even against taxi cab drivers, is worth mention. So I give him that. Another guy that's active that I think is overrated is Kessler. Everybody thinks Kessler is so good. Everybody had Kessler as the favorite for the Super 6. I'm not so sure Kessler is as good as we think. I think maybe his best performance to date had to be the very close, and some people say robbery, over Carl Froch. Aside from that, has Kessler really fought the best guys? I mean, he backed out of the Super 6. I don't care what anybody says. You could say about injury and everything else. There came a point where Kessler was like, whoa, this is way too much risk for not enough reward. I don't feel so good. I hurt my eye, which, hey, I'm not even doubting that his eye was hurt. I think his eye was career ending, but, I'm no doctor. I don't even play one on the radio. But, so he signs up and he's going to come back. And he fights. He did have a fight. He looked good in his last fight. But come on. He fought. Who did he even fight? I don't even remember who he fought last year. Who did he fight? That I don't even have it written down. But it wasn't. It wasn't that. It wasn't. Who did he fight? Somebody help me out here. Who did? Let's see. I don't even know. I don't even know who he fought. But anyway, Alan Green. He was scheduled to fight. Stiglitz, Robert Stiglitz. Dave Murphy's bailing me out here. He's gonna tell me who Kessler won. Boudlar. That's right. Boudlar. He fought Boudlar, and he won, and he knocked him out, if I recall correctly. And I'm not going to take anything away from that fight. He was coming back from the injury or whatever, but he was scheduled to face Robert Stiglitz, and that fight was supposed to happen in November. Then he hurt his finger. Remember, he hurt his little pinky or his forefinger, and had to withdraw. So they rescheduled that fight for April. So November, December, January, February, March, April. 5 months later, they scheduled it. Now, he hurt himself, so he couldn't fight in November. He hurt his hand, hurt his finger. So they rescheduled it 5 months later. And in April, which is when the fight was scheduled to take place, he says, I need more time. I'm not going to be ready to fight Robert Stiglitz. I'm not ready to fight Robert Stiglitz. So he backed out of that fight for April, and Stiglitz is going to take somebody else on. And Kessler now says his finger's fine, and all he needed was a little more time. And to prove this, he's fighting in May 19th, against Alan Green. Now, he's also considering moving up in weight to fight Alan Green, because Alan Green's excuses, aside from looking at his feet all the time of late, he says, I can't make the super middleweight limit, and therefore I fight at light heavyweight. So Kessler's considering moving up to light heavyweight to fight him in May. May 19th is when they signed the fight. Mikkel Kessler against Alan Green. What do you think about that fight? They're saying, Alan Green's got the power, Alan Green's got this, Alan Green's got that. Alan Green's got nothing. Alan Green doesn't care about fighting anymore. To me, he lost his desire. He had a hard time making the weight. Yeah, he's got power. But Kessler's got a good set of wheels, and he does have a decent little jab, and he's going to run away from Alan Green and outbox him all night long. He doesn't stop Alan Green. He doesn't stop him, but he beats him. But where does that put Kessler? Where when you start talking about super middleweights, where does Kessler fit in? If you're looking at Butte, if you're looking at Froch, even Froch, you're looking at Andre Ward, I don't see him beating any of those guys. In the light heavyweight division, the rumor has it that they want him to fight the winner of the Chad Dawson and Bernard Hopkins fight. Kessler, we're going to give him one fight against Alan Green at light heavyweight, and all of a sudden he's going to be a player in the light heavyweight division? Come on, man. Come on. I think it's time that we make these fighters fight. Not who they want. And you know what? You look at Alan Green, and this is a good move for him. And even Lou DiBella, who surprisingly, or let me rephrase that, not surprisingly, is Alan Green's promoter, because Lou DiBella is a front runner for a guy that wants to put all his top fighters in with someone else's fighter as the opponent, so he doesn't have to write a check. He's doing it again. He did it with the only guy that he's foot the bill for is Martinez, but we've seen those level fights. The best he can do is an HBO broadcast with a marginal opponent in Darren Barker and Matthew Macklin back to back. That's it. That's all he's going to foot the bill for. He's not going to go and say, bring Kessler here to the States, fight my guy Alan Green, Team Sauerland, and they're like, ha, 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 no way, because we'll pay you more. And Lou DiBella's like, okay, I support that, because he doesn't want to write a check. All he is, he wants to be a promoter, but don't get me started with Lou. Lou's in love right now, so, and I can't blame him. She looks gorgeous. But nonetheless, Alan Green taking on Kessler May 19th, and the bottom line is this: if Kessler wins, I guarantee you they're going to get a shot at the winner of the Chad Dawson Bernard Hopkins fight. And we got the new rankings for this week up on BillyCBoxing.com, and I want to take a quick look real quickly, because I'm curious to know where we're at. As far as light heavyweight, we don't have Alan Green. We don't have Alan Green in our top 10, and we don't have him in our others category, which is the next 5. As far as super middleweight, we have Mikkel Kessler ranked at number 4. I don't think he beats number 1, number 2, number 3, which is Ward, Bute, and Carl Froch. I don't agree with that order, but that's how our panel sees it. I don't think he beats Stiglitz, who's at number 5. I'd love to see him fight Glenn Johnson, who's at number 6. Arthur Abraham and him would be a decent fight. Seiko Bika, I think he beats Tomas Uzenthausen. The jury's out on him. It's not out on him. I like him. I'd like to see him fight. Edwin Rodriguez, which I don't believe deserves as much credit as he's getting, it rounds out our top 10. I think Kessler is should be a little lower. I don't think he beats Stiglitz or Glenn Johnson, and I think Abraham gives him a tough fight. But when you look at the light heavyweight picture, you got Bernard Hopkins, Chad Dawson are going at it. They're going to decide who the champion is, really. You still have Jean-Pascal Tavoris Cloud, Gabriel Campillo, who nobody wants to fight. Nathan Cleverly, Bebot Shumanov are the 2 young fighters that are title holders that really should be getting a shot at B-Hop or Chad Dawson, whoever wins that fight. Jean-Pascal, how about a Jean-Pascal against Kessler if Kessler beats Alan Green? Listen, if Kessler, there's no reason why Kessler would get a fast track to the winner of Bernard Hopkins and Chad Dawson just by beating Alan Green. When you got Jean-Pascal Tavoris Cloud, Gabriel Campillo, Nathan Cleverly, Bebot Shumanov, all, in my opinion, more worthy of a shot at the Dawson-Hopkins winner. And by the way, Tavoris Cloud has his own title to defend, so he's got a belt. So does Nathan Cleverly and Shumanov. So. Where does he fit in? I don't know, man. I don't know where he fits in, but I don't think it should be as a world title shot. I really don't. No disrespect to Kessler, but I think he's a bit overrated, if you ask me. Vlad Klitschko, we knew that Tony Thompson was going to be the guy, but we didn't know when. And now they know when. It's taking place July 7th, and it was announced yesterday that. They will not have to go to the purse bid, which was scheduled for today in New Jersey. They came to an agreement last night, and it's signed, sealed, and delivered. Shelley Finkel, who's the spokesperson or manager, or not manager, he's an advisor. He's the legal advisor for Team Klitschko. He said that if we were going to go to a purse bid, then 85% of the purse would go to Klitschko, and only 15% would have been to the challenger, which was Tony Thompson. And the issue here was this is the IBF's rules. The issue here was the way it sounds to me, even though the terms were not disclosed. It sounds to me that Finkel gave up a little more than 85% to sign this prior to the purse bid, which makes me wonder. Why? Because Tony Thompson, his promoter, is Dan Goosen, And Dan Goosen is just like Lou DiBella. He wasn't exactly going to outbid anybody for this fight. So, Klitschko could have waited and bid even lower. But apparently they saw an advantage to making this deal before it went to purse bid. So that's exactly what took place. The fight's going to be taking place in Switzerland. So they wanted a neutral place. No, just kidding. But it's going to be in a soccer stadium, and it's scheduled for July 7th. July 7th in Switzerland. So we'll see what happens in that one. We did have a poll question on this, and the question was, do you think that Tony Thompson is actually the best opponent for Klitschko? And do you think he's got a chance at winning? And we had that poll up for 2 weeks. We left it up for an extra week, and it went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Ended up ending at a 50% tie, and that's the way we left it. So that's kind of how I feel about that fight. Earlier I was talking about the James Kirkland fight. I was responding to an email about that fight, and the fact that the Molina camp is looking to get the results changed, and that ought to be an interesting thing because. I don't think they're going to be able to change it. I really don't. But we'll have to wait and see. They're looking for that. Kell Brook, he's going to be returning to the Motorsport Arena in Sheffield on July 7th. And this was on the heels of his victory over Matthew Hatton. Over 10,000 people were there live. So I could see why they scheduled his return for July 7th at the same place. They want to fill up that arena again. They're talking about stepping up his level of opposition higher than the Matthew Hatton type fighter, and they're going to announce that opponent soon. So no opponent named yet, but we should have a name pretty soon. And one other thing I wanted to mention, and we're going to kind of take a break here before we get Amy Green on, even though it's a couple minutes early. WBA female super flyweight champ Tusami Tanaka has got a record of 18 wins, 3 losses, 7 coming by knockout. She's I don't know if you've ever seen her or not, but she's pretty. She's pretty. She's a cutie. She's going to be defending her belt against the interim belt holder, which is Carolina Gutierrez, who's got I think a better record than Tanaki. It's being billed as a unification bout. It's going to be taking place April 27th, and it's going to be in Argentina. So we'll see what happens with that in the female ranks. And one last thing before we take a break. That's actually about 8 minutes early. So I'm giving Command Central here an opportunity. Tomasz Adamek said, and I quote, "Looks like my hand is like my chin, made from stone." And he says, but then again, Nagy Aguilera's head must be made out of steel. It was the first time that Tomasz Adamek ever had some issues with his hands. Not one, but both of his hands swelled up. He thought he broke bones in both of his hands. But after seeing a specialist yesterday and undergoing some x-rays and MRIs and stuff, they found out that he did not break any bones. He just ruptured some tendons or whatever he did. Let me see what the exact thing was. It was ruptured. I don't know what the medical. I don't know what it was, but it was he ruptured his joint capsules, whatever that is, and it caused extensive fluid to fill up his hands, and they formed some major swelling, which prevented him from being able to make a fist or do anything. He thought that he broke bones in both hands. He says, but he's okay. He says, I never had hand problems before, and everything looks good. Everything looks safe, and he's going to be back. And they're looking to have him back on the NBC Sports channel on that network for his next fight in June. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. As promised, we're going to take a short little break here, and then we're scheduled to have Amy Green join us all in about 2 minutes. So.
Talking Boxing with Billy C. Every week, 2 hours of the best boxing talk on the radio.
Mike Tyson looked like he put on some pounds. He was fat. He went into McDonald's and he just said to them, hey, give me 6 of everything on the menu. He put on 2 watches and covered 2 time zones. I'm talking fat here. Got on a scale the other day and it said, come on, one of you guys got to get off. Last thing I heard is that he jumped into the ocean and he left a ring around the continent. He's fat.
Boxing with Billy C.
The 2012 Summer Olympic Games unfold in 5 months in London. The honor and the history of playing host goes back a long way. How long? That's next on Sports Shorts with me, the Sports Princess.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Stouffer's, helping bring your family together with wholesome dinner options, even on the busiest of nights. Find dinner table ideas to bring your family together at letsfixdinner.com. To get kids involved in dinnertime conversation, ask specific questions, not broad ones. Instead of what happened today at school, try what was the best thing that happened today. The more specific you are, the more they'll have to say. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
Legend has it that the Olympics go back to Hercules, but let's leave Greek mythology out of it. The modern games opened in 1896. Since Athens couldn't afford to put them on, a businessman ponied up the coin. Pole vaulting, weightlifting, shot put, and swimming, few of the handful of events. Since those days, some of the original sports remain. Others come and go, depending on the whims of the International Olympic Committee. Australia, France, Germany, and China have hosted summer games, and this will be the 3rd time for London. As for the Winter Games, the U.S. has hosted them 4 times since they started in 1924 in France, featuring sports like alpine cross-country skiing, figure skating, and such. Between the Summer and the Winter Games, there are hundreds of sports and thousands of athletes. You never know what city is going to get a crack at hosting next. I'm the Sports Princess with Sports Shorts.
Now back to Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. He may not have an Excellence in Broadcasting award, but the night's still young.
And he's got martinis.
So you never know what may be by morning. It's Talkin' Boxing with Billy C.
Talking Boxing with Billy C.
The one, the only, Don King.
Makes me feel good, Billy, to have you, the #1 show in the country, Talking Boxing with Billy. So I invite each and every American that's listening to this great show to tune in, because we want you to be there with Billy and me.
Sweet Susie Q, she was a rebel, no angel wings, more like the devil. She was so hot, so cool, nasty, believe it or not, here's what she asked me. If you need love with no condition, let's do the
And we're back. You're listening to the Talking Boxing with Billy C radio show. You're watching us on the Fight Now television channel, and I know. I'm early. I had to take that break a little early, and it's a couple minutes early, and I know Fight Now is probably mad, and the radio stations are going to be mad because they're going to be looking for a commercial in a couple of minutes, and they're not going to find it, and all that happy stuff. And I know that Amy's going to be mad because she was probably still trying to get that last couple of minutes of sleep. And speaking of Amy Green, she joins us right now. What's up?
Billy, I'm awake. Where you been?
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I didn't want to catch you. I didn't want to, have you still sleeping. I didn't want that to happen.
Not even. How are you?
Not too bad. I'm trying to decipher. I mean, the guys in the chat room are talking in code, and there's some kind of a picture that they were talking about, and I don't understand what the GF and the BC and all of that stuff are. So I don't know, but let's talk about women's boxing. First and foremost, I work with Chevelle Halbach, of course. We both do, and she's scheduled to fight. We don't know the exact date because that's been being changed more than my socks lately. But she is going to be fighting. It is scheduled to be for a world title, and I don't even know who the opponent's going to be. But we know it's going to be taking place soon. She is winding down her career. She's looking to fight for this title, possibly another one in a couple of months, and then maybe one more Bon Voyage fight. What's your thoughts on that real quick?
I hate being in a position where you have to totally depend on a promoter like this, which it seems like we're having to do. I know she's ready. I don't think the person on the receiving end of this is going to be ready because it's got to be a little frustrating for her. I mean, you had a fight. You were ready to.
We just lost you, Amy. Are you there, Amy? I got to call you back. Hey, it's like the good old days with the phone system. You know, there's nothing like a crappy phone system to start your day. Oh, it's even better. It's even better because we get to restart everything. Yep. We get to restart everything. So Amy's going to be wondering where we went, but fear not, because eventually the piece of garbage system will be up and we'll get her. You know, I am talking. I'm talking with the guys in the chat room while we're getting this piece of crap up for Amy. You know, they're talking about the New York State Boxing Hall of Fame induction weekend, which is taking place on Sunday. And I was going to be going. Unfortunately, a death in the family is keeping me from supporting my man Harold Letterman, who I really wanted to be there for. This induction means a lot to him. And if you guys are going to go, make sure you visit the website, www.ring8ny.com. That's ring8ny.com, and get yourself some tickets for that. Tell them Billy C sent you. It's going to be a great time. I had every intention of going. It's Sunday. It's in Howard Beach, New York, which is in Long Island, and it's going to be a great time. What I was just saying in the chat room, it's too bad that you know, I was a little I questioned some of the guys that got in first time, New York State. I mean, you know, no disrespect to McCallum, but yeah, I mean, did he live in New York for more than a couple of years? I mean, 2 years. You know, I mean, you know, to be a New Yorker, to be considered, you know, they got Riddick Bowe going in there. I mean, I bet you, in hindsight, right now, the powers that be are pretty much regretting that a lifetime New Yorker. And a guy that we just lost, Bert Sugar, should have easily have been in there. First-time ballot, I would think, you know, but that's my opinion on that. But anyway, we'll have to see what happens. But, yeah, this, you know, Dave Murphy thinks that I have the original Alexander Graham Bell phone. It's actually a very high-tech phone system, and unfortunately it's using the cable, which is the internet, which is not solid. All right, I like the old style phones, the old Verizon, you know, direct phone line. The problem with that is that you don't get the sound quality when we're doing broadcast. At least we don't. So that's the only reason why we haven't done that, and we switched to this. So, and this has been just absurd. It's been absurd of what I got to deal with this, and I tell you how I even can keep my cool, because I have been known to fly off the handle at times, and how I keep my cool during this is beyond me, because one of these days, and I know I've had little fits along the way, but one of these days, I'm fearful that I'm just going to snap, and we're going to have some stuff that's going to happen, you know, on the air that I'm probably going to regret. So I'm trying to keep that in perspective here as we finally get this thing ready to get Amy back on the line here. And we'll have to wait and see, because she might have already left for the morning, which I hope is not the case. But we'll see what happens. But anyway, hopefully, are you there, Amy?
Yes, I am.
I'm sorry about that, but my crap phone system took a shit right when we were talking to you, and we had to reset everything. So I apologize for that. You were just about to give your thoughts on you know, the summary of Chevelle's career, but I know you had some other things to talk about. And one thing I wanted to ask you, you know, you can respond real quick on the Chevelle thing, but, you know, I was a little critical of, I love Ann Wolfe, but I was a little critical of James Kirkland this past weekend. It looks to me like he seems one-dimensional, and some of my listeners kind of took that as me cutting up Ann Wolfe because she seemed like a rah-rah man in the corner. What's your thoughts on both of those issues?
It is approximately 200 miles from Austin to Houston, and I would have hated to have been James Kirkland in the ride home with him, on the ride home with a pissed-off Ann Wolfe. She did her best with him. She continues to try and really work with him, and she's going to have to be a rah-rah man in the corner because something's got to wake him up. I mean, he can't continue to be good one time, horrible the next, good one time, horrible the next. He needs to have some consistency. I don't know what she needs to do to find that. The way he looked the other night, they were talking about him needing to provide a urine sample. He acted like he was constipated instead. I mean, he just gave a lackluster performance. It's like he was sleepwalking. I don't know what he did up until round 9, and I was sitting there watching the show.
No, I know. He seems ordinary at this point.
He seems what?
Ordinary. He seems like an ordinary fight. I'm hearing like a backfeed. You got the show up. Are you listening to the show, or is it just the delay we have?
No, it's your delay.
Oh. So what was some of the other things? I know you had some women's boxing news you wanted to fill us in on.
Oh, we have 2 or 3 girls that have been pretty busy. Alicia Ashley has retained her world title in a successful defense on March 17th, and she's 44 years of age. She doesn't show any sign of slowing down, continues to fight, some really good opponents, and it doesn't seem to matter where she goes. She's been coming out victorious. And then you have on the same token another super bantamweight in Anna Hulatan who lost in Argentina. And, that might be a good matchup between those two. You've got one that's a WBO titleist in Anna Hulatan, or who was, and you've got Alicia Ashley, who has always been a quality fighter. Jelena Mrdrinovic and Lindsay Garbat fought the third fight in their trilogy, with Mrdrinovic ending up on top. And, that's kind of interesting in itself, because I thought Mrdrinovic was winding down. Also, it seems like she's got a little bit of life left.
She's got a little life left?
It seems like she might.
Well, hopefully. Tell me about this super flyweight champ, Tusami Tanaka. She's having a unification fight against Carolina Gutierrez in April. Is she the real deal or what?
She seems to be coming along, and I think she's been impressive so far. And I'd just like to see a little bit more of her, because that's a hard weight to find. That's a hard weight to find competition, even as much as if you were on the opposite end of the spectrum and in a larger weight. So it's going to be easy to see how long both of them can stay competitive, because that's a very small weight class. But I think I'm kind of cautiously optimistic about her.
Patty Boom Boom Alcivar just fought and lost. She was on this show not too long ago, but she just fought and lost to Keisha McLeod in New York. Any thoughts on that fight and the outcome? There's rumor that they're going to have a rematch, but this time it's going to be for a title. My question is how could you have a rematch? I know the fight was close, but how could you have a rematch and have it be for a title? Coming off where one fighter loses, I don't get it.
I think you'd have to ask the sanctioning body and see what kind of wisdom they could offer, and if that's even plausible. That was a really, really close fight. Patricia Alcivar's not been as active as she was early on in her career, and I really don't think she's lived up to the promise for it. Now, if you look at her record, she's been kind of all over the weight range, but her amateur career was a long time ago. Fire's a little younger. I mean, Keisha's a little bit younger. So I think that they have a closer fight. If they have a rematch, it could be close again. But I don't see a title there but then that's not up to either you or me. That's left for everybody to scratch their heads over and wonder, oh, well, why? At least they'll get another fight.
I've been wondering about some stuff about female boxing, and one of the things that I enjoy with it is that traditionally, and what I've noticed for the most part, aside from the obvious that generally the female bout on a card is usually the fight of the night and all of this stuff. But what I've noticed is that the fighters themselves are more willing to fight each other more than men. But recently I've encountered some experiences that doesn't make any sense to me. They just simply don't make any sense at all. And one of them is the fact that we get these opportunities. We get these opportunities to fight, and I say we. I'm saying female fighters get the opportunity to fight, and they have an opportunity to fight other opponents. And I'm talking about female fighters here. They get an opportunity to fight, and although they would be willing to fight, let's say, an opponent for X amount of money in a 6 or an 8 round fight, which is a fraction of what the men make. If you mention that it's a title fight, all of a sudden they want triple the money. And they'll actually turn the fight down and not fight at all. How can you explain that? I mean, why would someone advise or why would a female make a decision that is basically going to keep them out of the ring? I mean, let's face it, it's not the fact that we have a shortage of female fighters. It's the fact that we have a shortage of promoters willing to put them on their shows.
They don't need to try and get Floyd Mayweather money to get a title that, the payday may be equal to or less than the sanctioning fee. You need to take those opportunities. I remember Cameron Duncan told me one time, you don't get the money making the title, you get the money defending it. I don't know if the same holds true in women's boxing because, like I said, the prices aren't a fraction of what the men are, but, take the fight, don't kill the opportunity, and don't kill your sport by putting females on the shelf that need to be out there in order for everything to grow and keep moving forward.
Right. Like, I'm not going to mention any names, but, like, I know for a fact recently a fighter fought in a 6-round fight, and she made $1,500 for the fight, okay? The same fighter was offered a 10-round fight for a world title, and the purse was at first offered, was $3,500, and then went up to like $4,000. And this particular fighter said, I won't even talk about it unless it's over $5,000. So, needless to say, the fighter got passed by because she outbid herself. Now, the question is I'm not saying that the fighters are worth less, because I feel that the women fighters should be clearly getting more money, and I don't think that asking that much money is out of place, because a male fighter would be making 10 times that. But the case in point is that it's not like she's got another fight. It's not like she's got another opportunity. So here she walks away from making any money, and the only fight she had in a year was for $1,500, 6-round fight. To me, that doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense, and like I said, don't let the opportunity pass you by, because it seems like you cause a domino effect in that happening to everybody else, because people are going to say, well, why wouldn't she take the fight? Well, if she doesn't do it, I'm not going to. I mean, it has a bad effect all the way down the line. The purses aren't that great, and she should have taken that little bit of extra, and then there's going to be more opportunities down the road for her and for everybody else. That's gonna create some momentum in the sport and for her career. And let's just get on with it and fight, and then see if you can create yourself another opportunity. Don't just sit around and think that you're going to get a $25,000 payday dropped in your lap for the first time in a year. You need to take the fight and make the most of it while you can.
Well, the whole issue was the title is the opportunity. You win that, and it should open up some doors for you. But I know you got some thoughts.
That's why I'm saying don't just sit around and wait.
Right.
Make the most of it when you can.
Right. I mean, and that's what I don't understand. I just think people are being misled and advised wrong, I guess. But I know there's a couple of issues going on that you wanted to give your thoughts on, and one is Eric Morales this past weekend fought Danny Garcia, and I did pick Danny Garcia, but a lot of people are saying Eric Morales is done, that he's doing it just for the money and everything else. I think that he should reevaluate, where he stands in terms of his career. I predict he's going to fight one more time. I think it's going to be against Juan Manuel Marquez at the end of the year. What's your thoughts on Morales? What's your thoughts on Danny Garcia's performance?
Danny Garcia was all right. I was kind of picking him to edge him, but, you know, he hung in there and turned in a very admirable performance. Eric Morales, I'm with you. I think, except I don't think he needs to reevaluate. I think this should have been this was the end of the line for him. I think he was just, you know, he struggled with weight, and I watched people comment on him on Twitter saying that he looked pudgy, and he did look soft for Eric Morales, and that's a sign of age, when you can no longer command your body to perform and do the things it used to for decades in the past. And I think if he takes the fight with Marquez, then that will definitely end his career, and it won't be on a pretty note.
Yeah, I can vouch for your body starts doing crazy things. It doesn't respond the way it used to. On a sad,
you know, there's another thing that annoys me about that is when, you know, you have fighters that aren't able to make weight, and then you have somebody like Dan Rafael criticizing them for it. I don't see him winning any battles of the bulge. So, you know, I know fighters need to make their weight and do the best they can to preserve their careers, but until you've fought and won that battle, people like Dan shouldn't be pointing fingers.
Well, Dan, come on, let's face it. Dan looks like he doesn't miss any buffet that he can find. I mean, you know, he's a donut. He come on, man. He's a donut away from 700 pounds. That's what it looks like to me. But anyway, that's my opinion on him.
There's no love lost between he or I guess you can tell.
Yeah, well, I don't know anybody that likes him. To tell you the truth, he's the kind of guy he's not a likable guy. You know, I mean, I value his writing ability. I mean, he can write. I don't think he knows boxing. You know, ironically enough, he writes for boxing, but he doesn't know the sport. He's a reporter. He's the Entertainment Tonight of boxing, in my opinion. But
not really.
Well, I mean, he uncovers. I think he's accurate with that kind of stuff. But I don't know one person in this business that likes him. But anyway, hey, who cares? He does well financially, and I'm sure that's all he cares about. On a sad note, Amy, I know you had some personal experiences with the late Bert Sugar. I too had some, and I loved Bert Sugar. I thought he was funny. I know his one-liners got old because they were always the same ones over and over and over. But I think he was an icon for the sport. I think that everybody knows him. You want to share some thoughts of Bert Sugar with us?
Bert Sugar is just an amazing, incredible person, and you know he was a constant that you could always count on in the sport that provides, you know, as days go on, a little consistency. You know, he said what he said, he stood by what he said, and he made it entertaining. You know, when I first got to visit with him, like my article on your site says, you know, he got back with me in a few hours, and we conducted our interview, and he didn't spare any emotion or anybody's feelings or anything. He said what he thought, and he entertained when he did. Nothing was mean spirited or anything like that. Oh, he could insult you with the best of them, and you knew you'd been insulted, but it was probably for something he thought was to the better good for a sport, and he was conversant on anything, not just boxing. He was a sports historian, and that's what would make him such a well-rounded person in every way, sports, politics, everything. He's just one of those people that's an end of an era to lose somebody like Bert Sugar, and that's like what I said. It was interesting enough to be able to sit and spend time with him at a cocktail party, but the appreciation I had for being able to have that person on the other end of the phone was priceless.
I had the luxury of meeting him several times and talking one-on-one, and he was a character. I liked him, and I think the sport's going to miss him for sure.
I think definitely they will, because you're not going to have there's not anybody else that's going to come along that's going to be like him, because Bert Sugar represented, you know, things of a time that were gone by, and he carried it to the moment. You know, he had his cigar, he had his hat, he had his cocktail, but he also had the sense of humor and the wit and everything to make it all work, and keep representing that well until his passing, which is untimely for all of us.
Yeah, it kind of caught me off guard. I knew he was battling cancer and stuff. But I thought he looked good last year, to tell you the truth. So it went pretty quick. I know Dax says that he's going to try and find a pair of plaid pants to wear in his honor up at the Hall of Fame this year. But the last couple of years, I've seen him wearing like ducky pants. They had like little ducks on them. They weren't plaid. It was weird. He was quite the dresser, huh?
I think he was pretty snappy, and that was just another part of his persona. The last time I talked to him was not any time recently, and I'm sad for that. But it wasn't even about boxing. It was like a gentleman I've done some work for in the past who played for the Knicks, Michael Ray Richardson, and he was giving me a little bit of advice on some things I could try to work on for him. But he's truly an icon in thought, word, deed, and dress.
Yeah, no, we're gonna miss him for sure. There was something else you wanted to talk.
We're gonna have to drink some scotch on that one, I do believe.
Well, I can help him there. That's one thing him and I did share together several times. Was a scotch, and the first time I met him was at a fundraiser for the Hall of Fame. It wasn't the Hall of Fame; it was at a fundraiser, and he was pretty funny. Him and Carmen Basilio stole the show. But anyway, I know there was something else. What else did you want to get off your chest?
Well, there's just a few things about the men's game that's been going on. That the whole Texas Commission thing with James Kirkland's fight. I think you may have said that Ann Wolfe was being a rah-rah person in the corner, but she acquitted herself very nicely in the way that she treated Molina afterward. And she shook his hand. She said, "You were winning," and it was worse than a debacle. It was just crazy, the chain of events that surrounded that. And they're going to have a rematch for there ever to be any questions answered about the outcome. The judging was a little whack, and the outcome was a little strange. So let's do that somewhere else, preferably not in Texas. They're just getting crazy.
Well, I think they are going to have a rematch. I agree with you there. But the thing is this. I think that it's unfortunate how it happened, and everyone, including Ann and James Kirkland, did not want it to end that way. But I also think at the end of the day, they got out of there with a W. They will open up the doors for a rematch. Molina's got some value there because he went the distance, so to speak. But a rule is a rule is a rule. And that's where Molina lost the fight. And I don't think they're going to overturn that. I think it's clear what happened. And as much as I hate it, I think that you have to follow the rules. If we start not following the rules in a sport like boxing, it's going to become worse than it is right now.
It's going to become more confusing than Twister if you quit following the rules. But I think they could have gone on. I'd like to have seen the round concluded because I think Kirkland may have come out of its stupor and finally turned in a late round performance like we know he's capable of. I mean, he wasn't going to pull off anything as dramatic as Sergio Martinez would in late rounds, but, he might have done something that had a little emphasis involved because he was turning in a crap performance just up till we finally went, I better do something here. I'm about to get another L, He's just, I don't know what his problem was.
No, I hear you. He just, I don't know what it was. He didn't look good. Hopefully he'll recover and look like he used to look in his next fight against Molina. Hopefully they'll fight again. But anyway, Amy.
Well, we do have a few other things to look forward to. There's some other big boy fights that are coming up, and I know that, I know you're going to have your opinions and I'm going to have mine, and those are going to be great for the future.
Well, we're all looking forward to it, and keep your opinions coming, that's for sure. But we look forward to the next time. We're going to have you on. I think we better pick a date sooner than the last week in the month. I think I didn't. What happened to the middle of the month, man?
It went by.
That's right, and you better get on that one. All right.
I've been busy. I do have other things I do besides Billy C.
Oh, whoa! Don't be dissing me on air like that. There's nothing else in your life aside from Billy C. Come on, man. What do you mean you have another life? This whole other life thing is starting to really cramp my style, man. Come on.
Like the whole 8 to 5 job is starting to cramp my life too.
Yeah, I mean, who needs that crap, man? I mean, come on. But anyway.
Oh, I like to pay for my car, and I like to, keep up, the habits I've acquired over a lifetime of hard work, and
Oh, come on,
that's just
man.
something that kind of needs to go on.
Amy, I want you to get your priorities in order. And Billy C should be at the top of that list, and we'll work on that. I'll call you later and give you some suggestions.
That's alphabetically correct.
Yeah, maybe it's up there.
Yeah, Billy C comes before Tatanapa.
There you go. It certainly does, and you could say Billy C easier than George Tatanapa. But
some days.
Yeah, some days. That's right, depending on how much scotch I've had. But anyway, Amy, look forward to the next time.
That'll be great, and we'll visit soon.
All right, man. Take care.
Thanks, Billy.
That's Amy Green. You can check out Amy Green's room, the Green Room, up on BillyCBoxing.com. She's got some stuff up there, and we're getting her. We're getting her. She's going to be putting out more stuff more often. Just to close here, I wanted to add a couple of things about some comments that they're making in the chat room right now. Murphy says the timekeeper screwed up. The timekeeper screwed up by ringing the bell too soon, and Murph was a little late getting in the chat room today. So I'm going to repeat something that I said in the beginning of the show because I want to end the show with that thought. Here's the thing: I know that's what Team Molina is going to say because we all watched the broadcast and we all clearly heard the bell sound. But consider this. The instance in which the fighter got knocked down was almost simultaneous with the bell or a second in front of the bell. Now, keep in mind, Murph, and everyone else that's ready to hang up the timekeeper to dry here, the timekeeper's not watching the fight. The timekeeper, once the 10-second warning sounds, the timekeeper is staring at the clock and is waiting to sound the bell at that 10th second. At the end of that third minute, the 3-minute comes up, bam, they want to tap the bell. And I think that's what was happening in this case. Regardless of the rule that Team Molina's fighting for and everything else, I think that when the timekeeper saw that hit 0 or hit 3, whichever clock they were using, they hit the bell. At the same time, or virtually the same time, the fighter was knocked down and the count began. So I don't think we can blame the timekeeper on sounding the bell, although by rule that bell should not have been sounded until after the count. But because it was so close to being sounded and because the 10-second warning was just about up, I think in this particular case you're talking about a reflex and eye coordination with what was happening and where the timekeeper was focused and everything else. I think that you got to give the timekeeper a pass here. Again, I have to put the blame on Molina's team for not understanding what was going on and entering the ring. If you recall and you look at the videotape, you will see Kirkland's corner. I forget which guy it was, but not Ann Wolf, the other main guy, the biggest guy there, would not let anyone get out of their stools. He saw what happened. He saw what was going on. And he said, the fight's not over. Do not move. And everyone stayed in their seat. They did not even stand up. They didn't even make a move to the apron. And I think that by doing that, they clearly showed that they were aware of what was going on, aware of the rules, and followed them. Molina's corner did not. And the timekeeper should not be the one that makes this, the reaction of the timekeeper should not be the one that makes this a no contest. It was a disqualification. I didn't like it. I hate to see a fighter like Molina get through that whole length of the fight and come out of there without a win. It's terrible. But this isn't the first time something crazy has happened in this sport. Rules are rules. I don't like all the rules, and I'm certainly not a guy that loves to follow them. But when it comes to the sport of boxing, You have to follow the rules. If the rules are in place, whether you agree with them or not, the time to change a rule is before it becomes a rule. If you can't get it changed, then you have to follow the rules. If we start not following the rules, especially in boxing, we're in for a heap of trouble. Heap of trouble, boy.
Wake up. It's time for the...
It's too early for a trivia question.
Well, I'm so glad that Murph is in the chat room right now, because today's trivia question, if you get it right, you're going to win Dave Murphy's personal favorite book. It's called Blood in My Coffee. It's written by Ferdy Pacheco. It's the life of the fight doctor. And I'll tell you what, this is a good book. I don't even think that Murphy ever actually read this book, but I thought it was pretty good. I finally read it, and I liked it. And the winner, whoever gets this question right, and what we're asking now for trivia question winners, if you can please write down when you send your answer in, please indicate how you're listening to the show and where you're sending this from. So how you're listening to the show and where you're from will help us out with some information that we're trying to obtain. So if you could do that. And one other thing, don't forget about the trivia questions. Even if you're listening to a replay or a podcast, or if you're a day behind or 2 days behind, always answer the question, because you never know. Like this question has been around for a couple of days. Prior to George Foreman's comeback, after he retired for 10 years, only he and one other former heavyweight world champion fought one fight that went 12 rounds. Only he and one other former world heavyweight champion fought one fight that went 12 rounds. Who's the other guy? George Foreman was one. There was another guy. Who's the other guy? If you know that answer, email me, Billy@TalkinBoxing. That's TalkinBoxing.com. Prior to George Foreman's comeback, after a 10-year retirement, only he and one other former world heavyweight champ fought one fight that went 12 rounds. Who was the other guy? Email me, and you will get your copy of Blood in My Coffee, Dave Murphy's favorite. Email me at Billy@TalkinBoxing. That's TalkinBoxing.com for if you have the right answer. But anyway, what do we got? This
day in boxing history.
And finally, this day in boxing history is being brought to us by Campanaro Tomkovich. If you're looking for a lawyer, then you need to get Campanaro Tomkovich. They keep me out of trouble, so they'll keep you out of trouble as well. Give them a call, 845-221-4099. Campanaro Tomkovich, 845-221-4099. On this day, March 27th, back in 1998, Richie Woodall wins a 12-round decision over Thulain Malinga to win the WBC World Super Middleweight title, and that took place on this day, March 27th, 1998, in Telford, England. Hey, man, that concludes our show for today. Glad you could join us. We really enjoyed having some technical difficulties, because that always keeps me on my toes, so I look forward to that each and every day. But the most important thing I got to tell you, you know what it is? Make sure you tune in tomorrow morning, same bat time, same bat channel. There's only one channel, and that's the Fight Now channel. Call your local television provider right now and tell them you want the Fight Now channel added to your sports channel lineup. It's that simple. For all the information about the Fight Now channel, you can get it on their website, www.fightnow.com. See you all tomorrow. Ciao, baby.